the one.
All right. Let's get to 50. All right. 50 Cent, man. 50 Cent. I think 50 Cent is trying to do a it's not a hostile takeover, but he's trying to do he is pulling a coup, if you ask me, on the documentary series. Now, here's my theory. And listen to me well. I don't think, most big companies have no soul. That's why when Diddy would say, damn, how could y'all put out this doc? Remember, Diddy was working with Netflix. He was kind of having like a deal kind of in the works, but then he gets locked up. It falls apart. They then hire Diddy's op, 50. Now, I think that's highly unethical. Damn. Why would you hire this guy's worst enemy? If you were cool enough to have business talks with the guy to try to get a documentary that he was going to be a part of himself, if he gets locked up or he falls out of the situation, why would you get his mortal enemy? But then I realized, and this is what I'm trying to say, a company like Netflix, like most big companies, they have no soul. They have nothing but the bottom line. They only care about dollars and cents. They don't care about, oh, that's my guy, I can't do that. Oh, shit, we have a relationship with them. No, they say, what could be the biggest when we announce it? What could get us the most subscribers, make us the most revenue? We're finding that out, and I think 50 is finding that out. I think 50 realizes that Netflix, they're down for anything as long as they could get someone else to be the face to give it credibility. That Jay-Z effect. Remember, Jay-Z was the face for a lot of shit for certain companies? They just care about selling. You see 50 in front of the Netflix logo. He says, little sex worker. He says, LOL, little sex worker doing it big. Get him, baby. Okay? It's 50 with Netflix. I think he's trying to get the influence over there, like possibly close to what he had to Stars. I don't think he will, because Netflix is really huge. So, he's trying, though. You know what he did? And you got to realize, this Sean Combs thing is a absolute fucking hit, chat. It's a hit. I think the majority of things he's doing is marketing this, but it's such a hit. Look at this. It shows him at the Netflix meeting and then Puff in jail, right? Puff in jail throwing down the phone or whatever the case is. He's with his lawyer throwing down the phone, right? Exactly. Now, when you look at this, and by the way, here's another thing. He has a picture of him presenting this. I would imagine it's Netflix. He said, good morning, guys. Don't let my momentum agitate you. The bidding war for WBD is heating up, and I don't care how it goes. I'm leaving with the winner. Now, I don't know what WBD is. What is that? Now, a lot of people think it's unethical for a rapper to be blowing the whistle on another rapper, given the fact that many rappers do the same things. Now, maybe not Diddy things, but I keep telling you, I know many rappers who they do domestically assault their women. They have put their hands on their woman. They have beat their woman before. They have a domestic case. People would think it would be unethical, especially if you've been accused of such things, to be the person blowing the whistle on other people being accused of such things. 50 don't give a fuck, okay? He don't give a fuck. He posted the Netflix thing. He said number one in 36 countries and 11 others still going up, okay? Now, here it is. 50 is now posted a picture, and an edited picture of that. A picture that someone drew of Jay-Z. And 50 said, please stop sending me stuff like this. I'm not going to post it. But of course, he's being facetious because he posted the picture that he claimed he wouldn't post. Now, that's not the interesting part, y'all. The interesting part is when you look at it, 50 was in the comments here, and he was liking posts. You can't see what the author, which will be 50, likes. But 50, and I guess I could post it on give me a second. I could post it on our burner page. Wait, what? Nah, I don't care about that. Wait. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Every time I open my phone, I see like a million different things. Anyway, because I don't want to slow the stream down. 50 is liking these comments, and these comments are saying, yo, do the documentary on Jay-Z next, right? Oh, actually, people posted on Twitter. So they're actually saying, and they're encouraging, and 50's liking it. Here we go. Said 50 Cent liking a comments hinting Jay-Z's next. Somebody says, my only question. He's next, isn't he? 50 liked it. Okay? So 50 seems to be liking comments that would make people assume maybe he's going to target Jay-Z next for a documentary expose. Now, 50, he did another interview. 50 Cent interview. Did y'all see this new interview? Hold on. I think this is it. We didn't play this. Let's go.
Life, including two videos, contribute to a critical portrait of Diddy in the documentary, which we can report tonight has now jumped to #1 for Netflix shows in the U.S. since debuting this week. Sean Combs' The Reckoning tackles Diddy's entire life, including previous legal controversies, the recent trial, which saw him acquitted on the most serious charges, including RICO, but convicted for prostitution crimes that landed him in prison for about 2 more years. Diddy's team is also rebutting this project as a, quote, shameful hit piece. They note the obtained footage was not authorized for release. Netflix says they legally obtained the videos. In addition, tonight, another dynamic here is that another famous rapper is, of course, behind this film, 50 Cent, who has long publicly clashed with Diddy and has recently expanded into a wide range of film and TV projects. He has plenty to say about Combs' record. The rapper, actor, and producer joins me now. He's sold over 30 million albums.
He got a new suit.
Won all kinds of awards and accolades along the way and is now a successful film and TV producer. And we're also joined by his colleague on the project, Alexandria Stapleton, an Emmy-winning showrunner and director of this series. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you. Oh, man, thanks for having us.
Always great to have a 50-day.
Yeah, it's always going to be good. Great for ratings.
There we go. It's an important project, clearly. The question for both of you, 50 first, why this project, why now?
Well, we waited until after the results of the trial to release the project, but I started like almost 5 months before I was able to find Alex, and finding that Emmy Award-winning showrunner and director is detrimental to the project being really well put together. So, you know, they should expect it to perform like Reggie Jackson's did.
Thank you. Yeah, I think why it's coming out now is we wanted to wait, to get through all of the legal proceedings, the criminal trial, and it spans, it's 4 parts, and it spans over 30 years of pop culture, his life. So it took some time, to say the least, to put all of this together.
It's an important story, and you could just tell it with all the public material. Mm-hmm. You go further. You've gotten your hands on some extra new material people are going to see for the first time, including this video. Any journalist would want to know how you got it, but it is Sean Diddy Combs in the heat of this, right before the arrest for the trial we just discussed.
That is the video.
In private moments, talking to his lawyer, cameras running. Let's take a look.
It's the middle of September and there's still no indictment.
No, bro. Then you have to have a spokesman. You have to have some sort of comms to constantly be pushing that, Mark. Because you may just be a person that just does. You just may watch CNN. So you at the wrong place looking to see what the people with the possible jurors are thinking. It could be somebody that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business of media and propaganda.
50, how'd you get it, and what does that scene show?
Well, I mean, you know, you're a journalist, Harvey. Harvey, you would not disclose your sources.
We usually don't.
Yeah, but I got it.
Yo, 50's diabolical.
What he said.
And what do you think it conveys? Because we see someone trying to pull the strings and talking about, he would say affecting, others would say manipulating the public views of the allegations.
I think that, you know, one big theme of the series is to go behind the scenes to really understand how brilliant you could say Sean Combs is at marketing, at owning his narrative, controlling the narrative at all times. And so why would that stop, you know, when his life is on the line? So I think that, you know, on its face, that's what it is. But as you get deeper in the film, you start to realize, you know, perhaps how some of these tactics, you know, how they really came to present themselves, you know, during the trial.
You show that, his abilities, his early rise.
Right.
Alexandra, you also give time to victims of the alleged abuse. Some of the cases are in different procedural postures. And you show victims who were women and men. Why is that important?
Because, you know, victims of sexual assault, sexual violence, you know, that should... there should be, gender should not be a part of that conversation. When you are a victim, you're
Yo, 50. Yo, the more I look at 50, I'm like, yo, 50 a cold nigga, bro.
Victim. And I think that, you know, this series was a platform in a way for these alleged victims to come forward, give their truth, put context to their situations when so much of it was ripped out, you know, and we just went...
Yo, 50 really on the show with the suit,
salacious
bro.
Headlines. And they really had the time to tell their story.
Yeah, and the film takes us way behind the PR or propaganda machine. You see Diddy the day he's finding out about new suits against him while he's in New York preparing for a possible criminal arrest. This is another moment from the video that 50 said he won't tell us where he got it. But it's a rare window into his thinking. I can say, just like Nixon didn't think the Watergate tapes would come out against him, it would appear that Diddy did not think he would lose control of this video as he talks about an accuser. Take a look.
I don't know what level of brokenness, disease is going on. God told me to do nothing, so I gotta do what God told me to do. And the one I want to do it. You gonna stay steady in the storm, we ain't about to be tripping. The girl that's in my group that was on my last album. You're on my last album now, all of a sudden I'm this person, I'm this monster. That, man.
We played all these before, bro.
Gloves coming off.
Alexandria, what is this show in the story you're telling?
Well, this is a moment where the lawsuits, I would say, take a turn and they become very personal for him. Don Richard is one of the alleged victims who filed a lawsuit, and I think that this is a moment where he was nicked. You know, his armor was nicked, I guess you could say, because I think, you know, Sean Combs is a person who probably feels like, you know, to step to him, especially legally, takes a lot of courage that I don't think he really assumed that a lot of people were going to have, even though the Cassie, you know, lawsuit had already been out. And so I think he was a little off balance, but that quickly turned to anger.
And 50, the project, I've seen all 4 episodes, it doesn't feel like a personality critique. It feels like it goes to the conduct, the alleged abuse, some of it alleged, some of it proven. And so you also show, one person who worked with Diddy, this was a Bad Boy co-founder who had a falling out with him, as apparently many people did. And it goes beyond the bravado. Some would say, 50, you have some bravado, and that's okay. Here, it seems that it turns into something more sinister and abusive. I want to play Mr. Burrows talking about it and get your view of why this was an important part of the story. Take a look.
He had this thing with strongmen, and he had a thing with wanting to be one, but not positioned to be one street-wise, but positioned to be one industry-wise. And they call that a paper gangster.
No, I'm not paying, nor am I involved in any of that.
And so as he's paper gangstering, he's also trying to street gangster.
Yeah, Kurt Burrows has a lot of insight. And, you know, this documentary is a...
Oh, 50 is so smart. With him being the executive producer, you know he talks shit on Instagram more. He could come in and be like, man, I know Puffy. Puffy's blah, blah, blah. Remember, he's not featured in the documentary. He's just executive producer it. So what he does is, of course, he probably helped create the narrative, but he doesn't give any context to it. He just relies on the people that he used to create the narrative, which is in a documentary. He's like, oh, this person has a lot of insight. 50's smart, man.
About people being able to tell their truth or tell their version of the story. And the only thing I wish we were able to have Diddy be in the doc. So he could have said some things that, make people understand why people are saying these things about him.
The outreach went to his team and they gave denials, but he didn't want to participate.
Yeah.
What do you think of the psychology, 50? Because in getting to know you, I've learned that you could have been a full-time psychologist and done very well with that. You have a keen eye for people. Fair?
Oh, yeah, I try.
Mr. Burrows makes the argument that Diddy was overcompensating, that he wasn't initially actually a tough guy.
Right.
And then there's the old saying, be careful who you pretend to be, you might become them.
This is true.
Did that happen to him in your view?
I'm not sure if that's what transpired, but because I don't know him to be tough. Like we haven't even had problems. Like me and him. Like our issue, they'll say we had beef for 20 years, but I have hired both of his sons for different projects that I worked on, like both two different television shows, Quincy and Justin. So I don't have that energy towards him.
Yo, Fifth is good. He's now on this press run. He's acting like he's never had a problem. When you hear him on Drink Champs, man, I ain't never fuck with Diddy.
Like where we trying to hurt each other. All I would while other people pointed out those situations like that he was dangerous like that, I said, oh, okay. I had to take it in, but we never got there.
Alexandria, the story also broadens well beyond the recent case. You look at a very controversial incident he was involved in early in his life where people were badly hurt and killed, lost their life, but it was like a melee, not one-on-one violence. You look at the infamous case in the nightclub with J-Lo where another artist, Shine, took the rap, not him. Are you trying to tell a story that he's been getting away with things this whole time, or is that up to the viewer to decide?
Absolutely up to the viewer. I think that my job was to show patterns, and my job was to report the facts and things that happened. And I think that it's pretty obvious that there are patterns that follow him, trails, of destruction and devastation that follow. And I think that, again, context is everything. And so when you're talking about Sean Combs, when you're talking about these cases, you can't just cherry pick one to make it all make sense. You have to look at the piece as a whole. Yeah.
Now we have to talk about Tupac, which I wasn't committed to, but then I watched the doc. So
didn't know you were getting that.
You have a lot of people saying stuff in there that makes it sound like maybe he was responsible for that murder, which has never been proven. That's a very serious thing.
But you have Keefe D over in Vegas now, getting ready to go on trial for that case, saying those things.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with his trial. I think right now it's up for August of 2026, and so it'll be very interesting.
Yo,
it was
a cold
fascinating,
nigga,
though, to unearth, different people that are not in the direct line of, you know, when all the Keefe news came out, someone like Kirk Burroughs, you know, you get to understand more of his opinion about what was going down. But I think more than just the actual murders and the tragic deaths of both Tupac and Biggie, I think that for us it was really important to understand some of the dynamics of those three, Sean Combs, Biggie, and Tupac, and what was really going on behind the scenes. That often gets lifted because everyone just wants to talk about, you know, the murder, you know, and not to really digest why.
But do you think a viewer's left with the impression that he was responsible?
I think that that's really up to the court system and not to me. Or the film. We're just presenting, you know, things that have been reported on, have been said by Keefe D, you know, himself repeatedly, and, you know, the LAPD.
Show some love, brother love.
Go on.
Nah, Fifth is diabolical, bro.
What Keefe was saying.
What he was saying, yeah. And yeah, you're speaking about a key person who some people would say, oh, that's strong evidence. Other people would say, when you get into years later and people with various agendas, you don't know. You have a juror in here. What did that show us about this case? Because there is a tension within all this. It's no stranger to many people that the justice system fails in all sorts of ways. You show how it failed survivors and Cassie, clearly. At the same time, he beat the case in New York. I remember the day it happened, and I looked at 50's Instagram for Diddy news, as so many Americans do. And in all fairness, 50 said, okay, he beat a big part of the case, right? You said. Many people think that was an unjust outcome, but when talking to the jurors, what did you find? Because the film...
They're trying to set 50 up to say something positive, to say, yo, hey, no matter what we thought or we've heard, the jurors agreed based on the evidence that he's not a sex trafficker and he did not commit RICO with blah, blah. So the dude, is this Ari Melber? Yeah, it is. He's setting it up to see if he could get 50 to say something good about Diddy. So he's like, oh, I learned about his conviction for certain things on your Instagram. You're the one, you're in tune. But then I watched the documentary. I'm hearing the juror, blah, blah. Could you tell me why the jurors voted the way they did? So, again, the proper way would be 50 saying, yo, you know, yeah, people said a lot of things about him, but it's clear that some of the stuff wasn't true. Let's see if 50 says that. Look at 50.
Looks at all of this horror, but then finds that a jury of his peers in New York, ultimately in this era, said the government did not prove the whole RICO case.
Look at 50. All right, he letting her take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really complicated. And I think that to break down what went right and what maybe went left or wrong in that trial is that's a whole other documentary. But I think that we have two jurors, two very different types of New Yorkers, you know, that were interviewed in the film. And I think that when you talk to them, I mean, it was very clear to me that they stood behind that decision. They stood behind it 1,000%.
Because?
Because they felt that based on the charges that were presented by the federal government, and that they could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Sean Combs was guilty of, you know, RICO.
Yeah. That they overcharged.
That they overcharged. I think that
50.
When you get into the...
Yo, 50 a true hater, bro.
You know, I don't know.
Yo, I know Kendrick says I'm the biggest hater, but I think 50 might be the biggest hater. Yo, I don't think Kendrick hate is this. Maybe Kendrick hate is like this too.
If our laws or our legal system are the best when it comes to the gray matter of sexual assault.
They had tanks out in front of his house. All right, like they made a bigger, more extreme approach to the investigation.
So you think the government did basically mishandle what was still strong evidence?
They did overdo it.
They overdid it.
They did great. He beat the case. To me, that what he was charged with, that's a victory. Like that, to end up with 50 months when you had when your life.
Okay, he's talking
on the line,
a little positive.
It's a victory, you know. But To be the only person that's incarcerated for hiring and transporting male prostitutes is different.
Yeah. Life on the Line, also a 50 lyric.
Yeah.
It is. When he comes out, and it's not that long from now,
Yo, how is 50 sitting here being interviewed, bro? Like he's like a neutral party. He hates Diddy's guts.
he enters this world. He's got a stack of civil cases that could bankrupt even the wealthiest people, and you give voice to some of those accusers and individuals. What do you think the future should hold for Diddy? Should he be, sort of re-embraced or not?
I don't know if he. I don't know why he didn't file bankruptcy. Like it would have indicated to the sharks that even if you see blood in the water, there's not that much blood, right? Because the lawyers, they came with so many lawsuits. It's like 80 different civil suits. So
It's over 100 now.
Yeah, he'll be. That is going to exhaust him. The legal
Underwater,
processes will exhaust him.
I think he also underestimated that a lot. I mean, some of, with every celebrity, you do have different claims and some are completely unfounded. But I think that some of these lawsuits, there's receipts and there's footage and there's voice recordings. And I think that for a man, it's also very interesting.
Yo, 50 a cold nigga, man. What a cold nigga, man. 50 is a cold nigga. All right.